Hello guys and welcome. In this tutorial you're going to learn about structures. So structures allow you to combine variables into a single entity. They're very useful. So follow my lead and I'll explain as I go along. So structures start with a struct keyword and we're going to call this myStruct, and make sure there's a semicolon at the end here guys. So struct myStruct, so this means we are creating a structure called myStruct. Now this is not a variable name, this is not a structure variable, we're actually defining a structure right now. So in here let's do integer a, char b, just as a quick example. So what we've done here is we've created a structure that holds an integer named a and a char character, 1 byte, named b. And what we can do then in our main function, you can do struct myStruct s. So what is this then? Well, we've created a structure variable that is called s, a structure variable called s that is basically an instance of myStruct. So then you can do things like this: s.a equals 50, s.b equals c. And look at that. So that's what a structure is. So then you can pass this structure around to functions and stuff like that to make certain things happen. So for example, if we do void print struct, we can say struct myStruct, and then we can do a pointer here guys, asterisk for pointer, because we are making a structure pointer right now. And then we can do things like this. So what you can do is you can go printf I space c %i%c, and then we can go s a s b. So obviously what this is going to do is when you pass a structure to this print struct function, it is going to output variable a and variable b. Now you probably may have noticed that here we are doing a dash and a right arrow, while as here we're doing a dot. So what's all that about? Well, in C you access structure pointers using a dash and a right arrow, but you access structure variables that are not pointers using a dot. So that's the difference there. So we can do this then. We can go print struct s, but you need to do an ampersand. Look, it's complaining. Put an ampersand because we're getting the address of s. So what happens here is we create a structure that is of myStruct and it's called s. We set variable a in that structure to 50. We set variable b to c. We call print struct and we use the ampersand to pass the address of s. So again, this becomes a number that represents the memory address of the s variable. So then what happens then is we go in here, we say that we want to print a integer and a char using these percents, and then we pass in the a value and then the b value. And we use the dash and the right arrow to access the structure pointer. Whereas if it wasn't a pointer, if it was just like that, you would use a dot to access that. So let's now compile that and do main, and you can see 50c. So that is structures for you, and that is structure pointers. So that is it pretty much works similar to the way pointers would work for integers, apart from we don't access them using a asterisk and then the variable name. Instead we access them using the variable name and a dash and a right arrow, and that's how we can access the individual elements. So structures can store any variable type, and they're great for collecting data together. Like for example, let's say you are making a program that handles books, for example. You might store the book title the book description, when the book was published. So then you could have a struct called book, and you could store all of that in there. So it allows you to organize your variables much better, and it leads to a much cleaner code base and more flexibility. So that is structures, guys. I hope that helps.